Halloween Horror Nights 2025 might be the best Halloween Horror Nights event we have had in years. HHN 34 is setting up to be honestly an insane year. It's bringing horror back. We're having some amazing offerings throughout the park. We're talking all about it today. It's gonna be a little bit of a yap session from me, I'm not gonna lie, but we need to talk about everything going on here and why you should be excited for this year. We also do have a few updates which we're gonna go over. We're gonna talk about the Hard Rock merchandise that has finally shown up, but it's gonna be a good one here today. If you guys don't mind, please consider subscribing to the channel. We are aiming for 7,000 subscribers by opening night, and you guys are absolutely nailing it. I love all of the support, the messages. You guys are so amazing. Thank you so much for all of the help and all the support you guys have given me. And yeah, I don't know, it's crazy to see the growth that we have had here. Either way, let's go get checked in. It's a hot one today, but it's gonna be a good one. I do need to point out how not busy it is today for a Saturday at 11 a.m. This is not very busy at all, which is absolutely crazy. I do need to also point out that the gates have now turned. They have angled them here. It looks like these were kind of straight on before. Now they have angled them here, so it looks like whatever the brackets are that they used, they decided to turn them. Okay, so we have some new candles up here. And again, we'll talk kind of in between updates in these scare zones about everything, but it looks like they've added candles here, which is really nice. Everything else seems kind of the same. We were pretty accurate over there, so when you guys guessed, perfect guess over there. Also candles right here. We're gonna check in on the merchandise here in a second too, but look at this. It is used to hold some like little champagne or like martini glasses. So we can expect potentially to see blood. Also, there's like that screw portion that goes all the way up the top. So they could be dripping blood. It could be movement that kind of comes down. I don't know. They have covered this up now though. So part of me says like it won't go through, but it would be cool to see like blood dripping through and kind of like, you know, founting down and then kind of like goes down and to like a pool down there. I don't know. We don't know what's going on with it yet, but they're starting to add something there. Now again, we do need to talk about what I was talking about at the start of this video, which is why I believe this year could be the best HHN in years and potentially be one for the history books, but also defining the future of Halloween Horror Nights. Now, here's the thing. This year, while we're in the scare zone, this is something I want to talk about, and I have talked a lot about this a little bit already, but we're going to kind of establish more of where my head's at with all of this. So this year, we have 4 scare zones and like 2 street performances, if you will, between Mel's and then the club horror situation. But they are doing this kind of theme again, right? So we're doing the conservatory theme. This isn't anything new. We have done themes in the past, but how well have they actually been executed? Think about Sinister and Surreal. Technically, that was supposed to be like this theme for the year. You would either go down Surreal's path or Sinister's path, depending if you want a more physical horror or mental horror. Was it executed super well? Not totally. You weren't really able to tell like, what path am I taking? They had no signs telling you like, go here. Like, you weren't really introduced into that theme. Look at Oddfellow. He was supposed to exist in every single zone. How well was it done? Some people said it was pretty good. Others said not so much. I couldn't really tell too much of the Odd Zone-esque stuff going on, except for the scare zone over in Central Park, where you could actually see him up front there and you knew, where it really wasn't apparent throughout the rest of them and you didn't totally know. But this year they said they want the conservatory to play a role in the entire event. They want it to be part of everything. And so far, from what we see in these scare zones already, it makes sense. It definitely is adding up. So again, now they are really honing in to say like, this is how it needs to be done. And that is a huge step forward. So again, that is why I'm thinking like this year will be amazing with the scare zones and the offerings here. Really go all out on 4 scare zones instead of like partially between 5, right? Like I'd rather have 4 super good scare zones versus 5 mediocre scare zones. And that's kind of where my head is at for that. I want to go check in on the merch right now because we still haven't seen the Wyatt 6 shirts show up. I think Mel's shirts have sold out as well. So let's go see what's available today. So we do have all of our 5 night stuff still available here. And again, tons and tons of 5 nights. And you do have the Wyatt 6 stained glass piece, which is totally fine. But the shirts is the big question mark. And it looks like no, oh, Wyatt 6 shirts. Look at how packed this is. They are oozing over with 5 nights of stuff. Also, it seems like Jason, we have smalls extra smalls and no more mediums available for Jason. So that has now continued to go down as well. I want to bring you over here to Mel's. Like I said, I think Mel's has sold out of the shirts so far. Yeah, so Mel's is now gone. They have the shirts right here. Now they just put the backpacks on display. That went quick. I came yesterday to get a large. They didn't even have it at that point. So yeah, they are going to run out of that pretty dang quick, unfortunately. Looks like the little booth shirts are running out a little bit too. No large, no medium. Now here's the thing, when it comes to merchandise, this is another reason why I feel like this year is gonna be insane. Merchandise has been selling out way more this year than it has in years past. Now here's the other thing, they could be like preserving a lot of it for like opening night to make sure things are there. Obviously Epic Universe has had a lot of struggles with merchandise. Obviously we had the medallion that was sold out, we had Captain Cacao that is sold out. So like there are some issues there with items just like being sold out before things are like open. So they could be in a situation where they don't want to necessarily put everything out and have it all sell out, and then by the time the event's here, it's gone. But based on the fact that we are seeing Wyatt 6, which I think is a lot of people's like out of left field pick for houses this year, selling out for their shirts, and we have no restock yet, goes to show you something is brewing in this year's event. But also Jason being sold out basically from the start of those shirts. I haven't seen larges or extra larges or anything since the first day. Items are selling out like crazy, which has me thinking people are really into this year's event, because why would they be selling out and not getting a restock unless they know like they need to save some of these shirts and merchandise pieces for the actual event because they are that popular. What is going on over here? Looks like they're fixing a fountain here in the water. Very interesting. Okay, so seems to be some work being done. I guess while we're over here, let's talk a little bit about that as well. We have the return of the Nighttime Lagoon show. That is great news. Is that something necessarily new? No, they brought it back a few years ago. If you guys are not aware, a hurricane came through, multiple actually came through that year. We did have a lagoon show to start the year, only for a few weeks. I feel like it was like 2 weeks maybe. And then a hurricane came through, and they said that it ended up damaging these jets and the fountains, so they were no longer able to do the show. Then we didn't have anything out on the lagoon for what, a year and a half? And then they brought Sensational, I think, or maybe 2 years total. I don't know. It was a long time though. Now we have a lagoon show back, which is always great news. But again, that is not something that is necessarily new. It's just returning. I love that they have had Doc existing over here a lot more. He came through Central Park yesterday, but he's over there by the DeLorean. Let's head over here for a second. They have added a little bit more inside of Crooked Lane. I know I said before, I don't know if they're adding any more, and then they did today. Now for obvious reasons, they had to add a roof. So we have a rooftop now on Crooked Lane. We also have a door here that has been installed. We'll take a closer look at that. You actually can see inside over here. So I wonder if you're meant to be able to see, and maybe these characters will kind of come over here and kind of terrorize you. You could see an entrance for them over on that side. And it looks like this door is actually hinged there, so it will be able to open and close. So they might be doing like a show up here, which would be kind of cool. We don't always get shows outside of like New York, it feels like. They did one in Hollywood not too long ago either with the witches, but it'll be cool if they do like a little show over here to kind of grab your attention for a little bit. It's always, I don't know, anywhere from like 3 to 5 minutes, maybe not even 5, maybe like 2 to 3 minutes depending. But I always like when they do those little like mini shows on stages. They have added a giant yarn ball inside of the little alleyway over here. It looks like they changed position there of this toy. Also, there's like a wad up there as well, like right there. Yeah, they moved it. There was another toy over here, and they just kind of put it over there. They also pulled this one up and kind of strung it down. We still have our giant hairball over here. What is that? I don't know if that's actually part of the scare zone. But okay, yeah, I don't think anything else is really going on here. Just kind of a readjustment and then the yarn ball. Do you guys think that the team members that did the mud just had like the best time just making all of these things dirty? Also, take a look right there. You can see all of the lights now are being strung. My guess is we will see these start to get plugged in relatively soon, or they might test them. I don't know, but they are starting to run lights. Now there are a lot of small details in here. We have a laundry basket, more yarn, more things that have been added. This orange skeleton now. I don't know where his head is. They have also started to add hanging milk jugs. You can see one right there. Also, it's funny, my camera's trying to focus on the pumpkin heads because it's looking for a face. It's actually really funny. And then there's one also over there in trees. So they have two of them that I can see here, hanging some milk. It also looks like they put kind of these like dead trees here with these leaves. So this was kind of just blocked off. Now they added more of like the old style trees here to kind of make it not look as green. Again, I think it's meant to look a little bit more fall-esque. And as we kind of get back to the front here, it does look like they added a few more things here to the gate. Again, look at how much detail is added to make this really blend in. Before, the gate was such a stark piece. It was so like, you know, just, I don't know, metal looking. And now you kind of have it blending in because they added all of these little things here to make sure that it looks like it's part of the scenery instead of just this like, you know, blank canvas, really. So really cool to see all these little added details. Again, you're not really going to notice it. You just walk through and you're like, yeah, like this all just makes sense. But if they don't add these things, it would be kind of harsh on the eye. So it blends in now with the scenario, as you can see, like, right? So like as you come through here, this all looks to be kind of the same as you kind of like enter in, right? It keeps the same vibe. And a lot of people like don't realize that. They just kind of like see it and they're like, oh, what a cool scare zone. But like all these little things, they're there for a reason, and it kind of like makes sense. Now I'm going to grab a seat here and have a little chat with you guys. So bear with me as we talk about some of these houses and kind of what it means this year. So as we know, we have some crazy IPs this year, just like drastically different than what we have been used to, right? WWE. Like we're looking at a wrestling house, and a lot of people are probably like, why are we doing wrestling, right? And I thought the same thing, and we'll get back to that. We also have Fallout, which, again, video games are nothing new to HHN. We have had them before in the past, and definitely ones that have TV show adaptations. Insert The Last of Us here. So that isn't anything new, but again, Fallout is kind of a stretch because, like, is it really a horror-based kind of film where, like, Last of Us, like, you can kind of see where it can come from to make a haunted house for it, right? Where, like, Fallout, you're like, well, what are they gonna do? But I also think Fallout is going to be great. But then you have like your classic Jason here, you know, just like a Freddy, you know, a Michael Myers, whatever. That is like kind of the traditional. And then you have Terrifier, which is more like aggressive, a lot darker, gorier for sure than almost anything I feel like we've seen in recent years. So like just those alone are pretty intense. But then you have Five Nights as well, which is kind of like, well, is it a kid's game? Is it adult? Like what is the age range on Five Nights? You're in a situation where this year, the IPs are almost completely different from one another, but also have a little bit of a connection. Fallout, Five Nights, both games, both movies or TV shows, but also like, what's the age range? Fallout might be a little bit of an older crowd. Five Nights might be a little bit of a younger crowd. You have Jason and Terrifier. Jason, older movies, you know, it's kind of like going back years ago. Terrifier, the new version of slashers, right? So you have like the new and the old mixed in one. And then obviously you have the wild card with WWE, like I was saying with the Wyatt Six, where it's like nobody was expecting that. So you're in such a cool year for houses, and that's just the IPs. But then look at the originals, right? So you have Grave of Flesh, where I know a lot of people love graveyard games. I don't know if we're going down that route, but it is in a soundstage, which is nice. El Artista, where it wraps in to the conservatory theme. We have our new character that comes to life. Then you have Dolls, which I'm hearing is a comedy house, so who knows? We'll see. Hatchet and Chains. Love to see something coming out of Slaughter Cinema. And then you have Galkin. So using kind of that, like, I don't know, the Viking lore, I think is such a great aspect to pull from. So like when you look at the IPs this year, they are taking a risk, in my opinion. Now, everything that I say today is my opinion. This is not solid information from Universal or anything, but like, if you think about it, they are taking big risks. WWE is a risk. It's been in the works for years with Mike Aiello, and like, it is now coming to life. There's no way that they let that flop, right? Like, this is like his baby at this point. Then you have Terrifier that has such a crazy audience. They're not gonna let that flop. They're using like these literal characters. The people that made things, that designed the suits and the costumes for Five Nights is here to design. Like, there is a lot of investment, a lot of good coming from this year, where it's like, if this year goes well, I can only expect to see this type of representation moving forward. This could be a game changer year And if it delivers, I would expect it's not gonna slow. And you're going to see Horror Nights just like skyrocket even further than what it already is. It is so popular. I think it gets even more popular. I think it grows by like another 20% if this year does really well because of these IPs, because of how well it's going. People are gonna talk about it. They're gonna be like, dude, they did a WWE house and it went super well. Oh, I went into the Five Nights game basically, or the movie, and like got to experience it. They did a Fallout house and it was insane. Like if that hits, that's gonna be crazy. And then we'll see what the experiences are coming this year. Have to wait a little bit. And then the food menus, obviously, if we have some awesome food, that obviously will deliver pretty well. But like, game changer year, guys. Game changer year, if it delivers. That's the big caveat here, a little asterisk, if it delivers. Now, yes, I know I am yapping a lot today, but this is definitely a video. I just want to kind of talk to you guys about the event and again, just get you hyped and understand the impact that it could have this year. And I hope you guys are seeing that as much as I am. Also, nothing happening in Battery Park. Something else that is going to be super exciting is going to be the fact that we are moving the Tribute Store to a new location. Now, this could be a huge success or it could be a huge fail. I don't know how they fit anything in here, but that has continued to be the rumor that we are getting a Tribute Store here inside of the Palace Arcade. Now, I did see they had curtains down and there were no arcade games in here. So everyone is kind of speculating at this point that this is where the Tribute Store goes. Feels like it's not that large, but I'm still hopeful that they could do something really cool in there. How crazy would it be if we all got duped and they literally just put the Tribute Store back over here, and this is not anything? That'd be so funny. But also, like, I could see him doing it. Here's something to keep in mind. Walls are down over here, and this looks pretty cleared out. We also now have no cab over here. The yellow cab was over there. So do prepare to probably see some stuff pop up here in New York and potentially food booths in the next week. We grabbed our pin yesterday for the Burning Blade Tavern over here at the Tonight Shop. Nicole actually has a video for you from over inside of IOA.
Okay, so over here at the Pass Holder Lounge, we have the UOAP merchandise shirt. We have Frank, the little pug from Men in Black. And then on the side, we have the UOAP Knights logo. And if we flip it around, we have a nice cute picture of Frank, and it says Agent F, as in Frank. So, cute shirt for the AAP Knights this year. So we also have the hat that matches the shirt. It is the cute little Frank the pug from Men in Black. And then on the back of the hat, we have the UOAP Knights logo again. So this one's more simple, but I actually really like the simplicity of this hat, and I like that it's not super wide or trucker style.
Let's take a quick look in here. I think I see a speaker. I do. So a speaker has now shown up inside of this little hub. You can see the sign down here. Is there a pedal? I don't know. I don't see one here. I know one of you guys was saying you think a gargoyle could be kind of like perched on this, like they would kind of dress up and be on that. I don't know. I'm a little concerned. This isn't that big. It's big enough that they could definitely stand on it, but again, we have a speaker here, some sort of box down there that I'm gonna assume has electrical. It's gonna be so loud. This character's right here and they have a pedal. The speaker's gonna go right into their ear. They also patched up the stairs over here, it looks like, so that's good news. Now, they did just drop these hats. I know a lot of you guys are wondering on these. They're back at Hard Rock. They told me it was gonna be closer to like team member preview. August 1st, they dropped last night, so I actually came over and got my hat. I got number 2 out of 500. They have basically doubled the amount that are offered. Now, I was talking to some fellow creators and just HHN enthusiasts yesterday, and they were also pointing out that the year before an anniversary year is almost always a banger year. And they said 29 was an insanely good year before 30. They said 24 was an insanely good year before 25. So this is 34 before 35, which is an anniversary year, which I know it's one of those things where it's like, it's a gambling thing. Like, well, if you do this and do this, it's gotta be that way. But I am pretty hopeful considering the fact that if that is the case, 34, it's looking good. we might have something awesome on our hands. Something else I do want to point out is I have not really heard many negative things about this year at all yet. I know some people are not interested in like Terrifier or certain things, but overall, the consensus that I am hearing is that they are excited. They like what's coming to the event. Things are grabbing people's attention. The overall excitement from just even the general public, not only just creators, but the general public has been very well received. Items selling out, that's always a good sign. People talking super positively, always a good sign. People are excited for this year's event. Like, I genuinely feel people are the most excited I've seen them for HHN in at least 3 or 4 years. So at this point, I think we are very close, like I said, to having an insanely good year. I think everything is lining up to be, hopefully, just an insane year. I know there's gonna be some dud houses, there always is. I mean, if you're being honest, like, not every house is going to be an absolute all-star. But the other thing I do wanna kind of point out is the fact that this year, I could see the IP houses being the all-stars compared to the originals. And I feel like every year the originals always deliver, but I think the IPs might be the one to steal a show this year. Now I'll talk more about that in just a second. I just ran into Nicole making a cameo.
I'm not even here with you.
I know.
It's like coincidental.
You're very right, but we need, really quick in passing, what is one thing people can look forward to this year at HHN?
Oh my gosh. You know, funnily enough, like I was just having this conversation about, I guess it's not specific to this year, but no matter what your thoughts are on like haunted houses or scare zones or being frightened, the overall vibe and energy of HHN is just so unexplainable and like exciting and captivating, and like you have to be here. It's literally having this conversation before I run into Dillon. The music, the lights, the food, the shows, like there's just so much excitement and energy that you have to be here to experience it. And I look forward to that more than like the scares. It's just the vibe of the night.
How nice is that? A little Nicole cameo, and we were just talking about how I feel like the vibes are high this year. And there you go. Let's go check in on this merch, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the IP versus originals this year. So here is the new merch for Halloween this year. So this is the new hat here. Now, one issue I do have with it is look at how tall that top is. I'm gonna put mine down next to it. Look at the difference in the heights of the hats. It might be hard to tell here, but like, it's a lot more trucker style. It doesn't form to the head as much. It definitely like, there's a lot of like wiggle room up there. However, they are numbered, and you can see down here, this one is 25 out of 500. So there's 500 of them this year. Definitely a lot more, but again, not my favorite fit. I like the design a lot. I don't love the fit, unfortunately. It's probably gonna have to be like a backwards hat, which is totally fine. But again, they are out of 500. They are on 25, it looks like now. What's this side? 17. So 17, so it looks like they've sold about 15, a little over 15. One thing to point out, this is the other hat. I actually really like this design too. However, these are not numbered. So you can still get a cool hat. That green really pops. You got the spiders there on kind of like the off black. So pretty nice. These shirts though are also sweet. So look at this one here. That looks awesome. Hard Rock Sideshow right there. You have the Hard Rock Halloween, then the Hard Rock Hotel 2025. And then you get kind of the vibes of the hotel right there, which is pretty sweet. You also have these hoodies here, which has kind of like a guitar pick or almost like a Ouija board kind of thing there. On the side, it does say Halloween 2025. The front is pretty basic right there. It's a zip up, and you can see up there with the moons. It does glow in the dark. And then this final shirt, I'm gonna show you, it's on the other side. You actually have to come over here to see it on display, and I'll show you the fronts. That is the front of the Halloween shirt with like Pennywise basically on him. And this one's super cool. You get like the admit one ticket right here, which looks really good. And it says Carnival of Fear. And then this is the back side right there. And I think it looks really good. I did end up picking them up. Little sideshow action. So I don't know, I love them. I think they look really good this year. Like I said, I'm just a little disappointed with the fit of the hat, but I think the design is really good. So kind of capitalizing on now the houses before we end up getting out of here. Also, you can see the mounds of dirt sticking up over the edge here, which is just crazy. But typically the past few years, I almost feel like the original houses were my preference. The IPs were good, but I do think that the originals were kind of better in general. Not all of them, but I think a big part of the IPs was they kind of got carried by the IP a little bit. Like, if you're being honest, the Ghostbusters house and the Stranger Things houses, I mean, they were probably like, I don't know, like a 6 or 7, but I would put them at like, you know, 8.5, 9, or 10 because of the IP. But like, the house itself wasn't crazy. It wasn't like the best house, but like the IP kind of carried it so hard in a sense. Not so hard, but it carried it enough. But I think this year, the IPs, though they will do some heavy lifting, I'm sure, in some aspect, I do think they're gonna be really dang good houses. I could see all 5 HHN IP houses being better than every single original except El Artista. That is the kind of wild card here that could be a big one this year, but I'm calling it now. I could potentially see this year all 5 IPs being better than all 5 originals. And I know it's a crazy take, especially if some of the houses in certain locations plays too much of a role. But I could see it. I think this year might be fantastic. The one that I would say could swap out, I would say would be take out Jason and put in El Artista. And then you could do like the 4 other IP houses with El Artista and put Jason into the bottom 5. I'm a little nervous with how the rights and everything is working with Jason and Friday the 13th. The location of the house, I'm a little concerned, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I could see the IP houses being absolute bangers this year, and I am all for it. All for it. I think it is going to be insanely cool, insanely good, and insanely scary. That is the big thing. I think we are getting horror back in Halloween Horror Nights this year. Now, as I am leaving, I want to briefly tell you about the Hard Rock situation. So I just showed you the merchandise, but just so you are aware, I did pick up the green hat. I do have the red hat already. Everything that they sell Halloween-based at the Hard Rock here is exclusive to this Hard Rock and to the hotel. This isn't like a corporate thing that goes across all their parks, so it is all exclusive to this location. The other thing is too, I was hearing that potentially the green hats could even be more exclusive than the red ones. They're just not numbered. I was hearing that they don't have as many of the green ones right now. They're getting them in batches. Again, the red has 500. I hear that they have less of the green ones, so keep that in mind. Though it is not numbered, it might have less for inventory. One other thing, they are getting a pin that will hopefully be here in the next few weeks. That is the last piece of merchandise. But everything, again, is exclusive here to the City Walk Universal Orlando Hard Rock. So keep that in mind if you guys are interested in buying this merchandise. Now, again, let me know in the comments below, how are you guys feeling about this year? I know a lot of you guys have given me your thoughts, but I mean, are you hyped? Do you feel like this could be a defining year? Do you guys think that, again, 2025 is like, I mean, is this gonna be like the HHN we've been like begging for and like looking for horror, looking for just like the intensity, looking for some crazy IPs? Like, I mean, how are you feeling? I genuinely wanna know where your guys' heads are at, because for me, I'm super excited and I genuinely think this is going to be such an insanely good year. You have no idea. This is probably the most excited I've been in years. I don't know, I'm happy, I'm ready for it. And we are just 26 days away from Premium Scream Night and 27 days from opening night. Now, if you did enjoy today's video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. It helps me out a ton. There's a free way to help support the channel. Either way, I need to get home, get in the AC. I'm coming back here to meet with Nicole and her friend in just a few hours, off camera, just enjoying the park. Either way, thank you guys again for hanging out with me here today, surviving the heat. But more importantly, thank you so much for being here.